Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Heard of the Line. It's been a couple of weeks, but we are back for an excellent episode. There's so much going on in the NFL right now, and joining me to talk about it is returning, I want to say new to the podcast, but not anymore, is Ballers Meg. How are we, Ballers Meg?
I am good, thank you. Very well. Excited to be here as always. What about you?
I can't complain. No, wait, my fresh Calvin Johnson jersey.
I
Uh,
noticed, I noticed.
Still the best find I've ever. Well, I say I've ever had. It was Mrs. I can't. All credit goes to Mrs. Fletcher finding it in a Cheetham Hillocks farm. 20 quid. Favorite player. Well, second favorite player of all time. I can't. You can't say no to that.
No, you definitely can't.
You really can't. Well, there's been a lot of stuff coming out of the last couple of weeks. Post draft buzz, schedule release coming up. We've got all of that to talk about in this episode. Plus, there's some trades, there's some signings, and there's still some holes on rosters that need to be filled after the draft. Where are they going to go? What's going to happen? We don't know. But before we get started, a couple of house rules. Head to the link in the description, links in the description of this episode. If you're on YouTube, look at me over here. They're right there, right below us, right there. Show them, Meg.
Right
Where are they?
there.
Right there. There we go. Thank you. All the links in the description. You can follow the AAW Network on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, which we need to get back up and running again and doing stuff on. You can follow myself. You can follow Meg on all of the socials as well. And if you're bored during this off season and you're sat there thinking, do you know what? None of my mates know ball. I'm bored. I need someone to talk ball with. Well, do you know what? We've got a wonderful little free community to join on Discord. Again, link right down there below. Come and talk ball with us. House rules out the way. They're not even rules. In fact, no, they are a rule. Go and do it now. Um, we'll get on to the news. Again, it's been a couple of weeks, so we've got a couple extra pieces of news of things that have happened in the week prior. Some things may have slipped through the gaps in the whatever over the last week or so to make room for more news. But first big one, Washington DC are going to host the 2027 NFL draft. This comes after obviously with the draft going on the road over the last few years. Detroit hosted it last year, Green Bay hosted it this year, Pittsburgh hosts it next year, and right after they find out they're getting a brand new stadium, Washington gets to host it as well. Meg, one other city other than Atlanta, you can't say Atlanta. 2028 draft, where would you like to see the draft get held?
Tough one. I think Vegas would be cool. Um I think that just because Raiders fans are absolutely crazy and I love it. I'm here for the chaos.
Hmm.
Um I don't know. I would either that or like New York.
Yeah.
Again, absolute craziness.
Thing is, with Vegas, I need to ask this question about Vegas. We need to be responsible here. Multiple young men who were on the cusp of getting multi-million dollar contracts. Do you want to let them loose in Vegas?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Because they'll all
Let's
have the
test your
NIL money.
character.
Oh,
Test the character.
and
Test the resilience.
coming out of their multiple millions in NIL money as well. Well, that's fair point. That'd be an interesting documentary in a few years.
Make or break, right?
2025 NFL draft. The NFL have released some stats on the viewership. It is the second most watched day one in NFL draft history, with an average of 13.6 million people throughout night one. Now, I can never be sure whether this includes international viewers or just the States. I'm going to gather with it being 13.6 million, just United States, not international viewership, though I'd love to know what the international viewership's like. It was up 11% on 2024, and it is the, like I say, second most watched day one in history. Can now, just quick bit of trivia. Can you guess which year was the most watched day one in NFL draft history?
Oh. Hmm. How recent are we talking? Are we talking Brady? Are we talking?
Uh, Brady was a player.
Okay. 2017.
Oh, it's a little bit later than that. It's 2020. I reckon you can kind of put that down to what the hell did anyone else have to do in April 2020?
True.
And we all wanted to see how the draft was going to work with everyone being at home and all that sort of stuff. The year Joe Burrow went number one overall, Chase Young goes second, Jeff Okuda goes third. That averaged
How is
15.
Jeff these days?
Who cares? Um, Nobody cares.
Nobody.
I don't think Jeff Okuda's family cares.
No?
Um, So that was the first. That was 15.5 million on average throughout the night. Again, there are reasons why that would be the case. This year, what do you reckon? I mean, I've got my own theory here. I think I'm probably right. What do you reckon is the reason for such an uptake this year in this draft?
I'm going to put it down to the legend that is Taylor Swift. I'm
You have
joking.
very different theories.
I'm so joking.
Um, but I don't doubt for 1 second though
No, I
that
think she definitely had an impact, let's be honest. I don't think it's anybody can deny the impact there. Um, but I think the whole Sanders thing, I think a lot of teams needed a lot of things, and there was a lot riding on what was a very defensive heavy draft. And
yeah,
it's quite unusual for the draft to be in that kind of situation where we're not seeing any, I would argue, um, legendary quarterbacks coming through this season,
yeah,
this draft. And I think that's very unusual in that the fans, the proper fans who, are dedicated to their teams and they want the best, are looking at a draft and thinking, where are we going to go with this that's going to actually make an impact?
yeah,
But I do think the Sanders thing had a massive impact. I think he did a lot of showing off. I mean, he was sat at basketball games months prior, blinged out of his head, iced up, showing off
yeah,
as if he was, definitely going at number one at one point.
yeah. So I that's my theory is that it's Sanders. Now again, I don't disagree that Taylor Swift, to be fair, has her impact. However, all the Swifties are Chiefs fans. Chiefs were picking very, very late, and with all due respect to all Swifties out there, even in the States, by the time Chiefs were picking, it was way past your bedtime. School in the morning. Then it was also the second most watched draft overall throughout the 3 days. 7.5 million average across the whole weekend, up 27% on 2024. Now, again, first night you're watching for a couple of reasons, but also Shador Sanders plays a huge part. Now, huge uptake in viewership over day two and day three, because to go from 11% on day one and then to 27% more over the 3 days, that has to be the Shador Sanders effect, because
Yeah.
everyone was watching to see just how
Yep.
far he'd fall. Um, so that's got to be, and again, it goes off 2020 was the most watched of all time. Uh, Again, we for reasons as mentioned previously. Also in the news over the last couple of weeks, well, in the last couple of days, Steelers wide receiver George Pickens has been traded to the Cowboys. The Cowboys received George Pickens in a 2027 sixth round pick. The Steelers receive a 2026 third round and a 2027 fifth round pick in a move that the
Hmm.
Steelers GM has said is a fresh start for everyone. George Pickens has clearly been frustrated with the way the Steelers have gone and moved as of late.
I
Do you
just
agree?
don't think that frustration is going to go anywhere at the Cowboys. If I'm being completely honest, I think it's only going to be exacerbated to a worse level when you're facing the wall of Jerry Jones, as I'm now calling it, his way of doing things being so set in stone. Um, I am not sure quite how Pickens is going to fit in at the Cowboys. I'm not going to lie. I think obviously the Cowboys need a lot of help. I think Pickens is a reasonably decent talent. Is he enough for the Cowboys' big changes on his own? No. Um, I'm just struggling to see. I don't think that I think obviously the Steelers wanted rid because of
Yeah,
attitudes and problems and that kind of thing, which I understand. Equally, I don't think they got the best deal in that. Um, but yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
I mean,
watch this space, I guess.
to be fair, I think the Cowboys are a bit. George Pickens is an excellent wide receiver too, isn't? He's very much an excellent wide receiver too. Now the Cowboys have already got CeeDee Lamb. That is your wide receiver one.
Yep.
To give up what is not a complete haul, get someone out the building who kind of needs to be out the building, and the Cowboys get their wide receiver two, an extra target for uh, Dak Prescott or whoever ends up behind center in week 3 when Dak Prescott inevitably goes down.
Mm. Breaks his ankle or such.
Yeah, um,
Yeah.
it'll be. I But to be fair, I see the benefit from all parties. I think all parties can walk away and say, do you know what? It's a relatively fair deal on the trade. Both parties walk away happy
Mm.
with what they've got. Um, Really quick on this one, Andrew Van Ginkel, the Minnesota Vikings linebacker, has been given a 1 year, $23 million extension with 22.4 million guaranteed. He had an excellent season last season, very
He
much
did.
deserved on his part.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I agree. Definitely deserved that, and I think they've done well to extend that. I think that's a good move.
yeah. Um, in other news, there's been a couple of retirements in the last couple of weeks.
Hmm.
Um, I'll go with this. Well, this, with all due respect to this young man, the slightly less important one first. Jordan Travis, the Jets quarterback, has announced his medical retirement. Now, if you aren't overly familiar, you aren't too deep into the NFL where you understand depth charts, you might not remember Jordan Travis or even know who he is. But he was a quarterback on the Jets roster. He was a 2023 fifth round pick. At the end of the 2023, the 2023 season, for Florida State in the November. He had a serious leg injury against North Alabama. Ended up being out for the rest of the season. It was horrific. He spent all of 2024, despite being drafted. They put him on IR almost instantly, left him to rehabilitate his leg for the rest of the year, and he's been advised to medically retire. A sad story all
Yeah,
around.
that's not a good place to be. You've worked that hard your whole life to get to the NFL, and you never get to play a game.
Yeah, and
That's
I
a
mean,
tough one.
yeah, and like I say, I mean, Florida State, where it was the year Florida State went undefeated. Um, they missed out on the playoffs because the College Football Playoff Committee said, "Well, without Jordan Travis, you're not the same team. You're not enough for." It was the 14 playoff at the time, so it's because they said, "Look, with the 4 teams that we could put in there, you're not the same team. You're not worthy." It became the first ever unbeaten Power 4 team to not make the playoffs. And so FSU fans are still riling over that. Who
I can
cares?
imagine.
Michigan still would have won that national championship anyway. Nothing you can do about it. But yeah, it's a sad situation all around. And at least he made it to the NFL, I guess, is
Eh,
the only consolation.
that's yeah,
Um,
silver lining.
the other retirement, as most of you will know by now, Derek Carr, New Orleans Saints quarterback, has announced is retiring on medical grounds with an 11-year career. Look, recency bias will tell you that Derek Carr was a bad quarterback, but an 11-year NFL career, 9 with the Raiders, 2 with the Saints, 4 Pro Bowls, 169 games, 41,250 45 yards, 257 touchdowns. And do you know what? Throughout most of those years with the Raiders, he was an excellent quarterback. There was a reason it was a big news story when he left the Raiders and went to the Saints. And what we thought was possible, it was it 20, was it 2022 when he had the 4,800 yard season. His second year, he had the 32 touchdown season. You don't have an 11-year career. You don't make four Pro Bowls. You don't have that kind of career without at least being some form of a good quarterback at some point.
Yeah.
So, as much as it's a sad situation, and as much, well, it's a sad situation as much as a Falcons fan, you probably relish a little bit in the Saints suffering.
I
It's a,
also,
it's a sad situation. You don't want to see someone medically retiring like that.
yeah, no, and that's one of the things that I touched on. I posted a video about this earlier. That obviously quite a surprise, I think, for most of us that it came out the way that it did after the draft, etc., of the medical retirement situation. I had a look at what's going on across at the Saints. As you guys know, I usually do keep a closer eye on my division rivals. Anyway, I think we all kind of have that in the back of our minds. Um, I know that their rookie QB is it Tyler Shaw has been taking some snaps in practice already. He's since the announcement has stepped up.
Yeah.
I personally don't think Spencer Rattler's got anything in the tank that's going to be worthwhile in terms of actually making decent plays to get the wins that the team need. I don't, I'm not slating the guy. I just think we saw last season what he wasn't capable of doing, and I don't think that's going to have changed in the off season.
Yeah.
Um, the rookie, again, we all thought they were taking a QB at in round one. We all thought, hey, they're going to go for it. They're going to take Sanders. They're going to take somebody, and rookie mistake really there because I'm not saying that Shaw's not going to be a decent QB, but is he realistically who we would have picked if we knew it was going to be our QB1? Possibly not.
Given what we've known about and what we found out about Shadar Sanders, probably still dodged somewhat of a bullet.
Oh yeah,
The value we
100%.
were getting in this draft is what it is, and people are already calling the whole tank for Arch, which is ridiculous because he won't be in next year's draft. Y'all can shut up about it already. Head over if you want to actually find out what the real thoughts are on whether Arch Manning and the players to watch for next year's draft and why Arch Manning isn't one of them. There's an episode of it on the College Football UK podcast, which you can go and check out because the lads go through it there, they explain it so eloquently. There's a guy on there also called Fletch who just so eloquent in the way the argument is put forward. And the other guys, they're okay. You can deal
I've
with them.
also heard, well, not heard, but in the kind of Falcons circuit, there is a lot of talk of the Saints taking Kirk Cousins, which makes me absolutely howl because, firstly, I said it tongue in cheek the other day. I was like, oh, they should just have Cousins off of us. I don't think they will, realistically. I don't think that that's a move that the Saints can afford to make right now.
Mm-mm.
Um, Nor would they want to, probably. But how funny would it be? Not funny as in haha, as in funny as in weird for all of us as Falcons fans who are sat here like the Aints, we don't like them. They're our worst rivals, our worst enemies. And then we've screwed over Kirk Chains and he's like, hey, see you later. I'm moving to New Orleans. See you at Superdome.
Listen, right, there are some things that I think do need to be witnessed at least once in a lifetime. And Kirk Chains at Mardi Gras.
I'm not mad about
Mm-hmm. Oh,
it.
listen, there are just
Hmm
some things transcend football, and we need to understand this. There's something will just transcend football.
Yeah.
Um, so just for the content alone,
Yeah, I'm here for
um,
it. All those beads, all that. Yeah.
yeah. But we'll get on to the quarterback situation at the Saints in a little bit when we get onto that segment. Last little bit of news. The Ravens. We're just gonna go through with this one. The Baltimore Ravens have cut their kicker, Justin Tucker. And this comes amid the investigation into the allegations of improper conduct that come from Justin Tucker. That's it. That's all that needs to be said. We'll make, obviously, there's no speculation that we can make or should make. That's just this. That's the situation. That's what it is. Obviously, football basis. How truly a football basis is it? Uh, we'll only we'll find out as and when. Couple of the signings that have been of note. I've only got two for properly noted here. I should have wrote a couple more. There have been a load, quite a few. Go check them out. There's loads of trackers of these signings. But the Browns have signed Deontay Johnson. The Bills have signed Elijah Moore. And there's, like I said, there's a few more. I know the Titans have signed a guy, a, a lineman. Yeah, is what it is. So, with the news out the way, I wanted to look at, now we're post draft by a couple of weeks. Free agency, the big bits come and gone. Now everything's a bit like there are a couple of players who were kind of hanging in the balance here. They could move, they might not. There are things that could happen. We don't know what's going to take place over the next 3 months. You could wake up on the 12th of June and all of a sudden, like Patrick Mahomes has said that all he's ever wanted to actually do in his career now is go and play for the Carolina Panthers. Like that, it's obviously not going to happen. But we wake up to some news like that at some point in the off season. What are teams' biggest needs now at this point? Now, there's a couple of places we can look at. I think the best place to start is with the most shocking, and I say this in air quotation marks, the shocking pick that didn't happen in the draft that everybody thought Steelers were going quarterback in round one. We said it about the Saints. Maybe they knew something about Derek Carr, maybe not. We don't know, but we all thought no matter what the Saints were, the Steelers were going QB in round one. They waited all the way till towards the end of the draft to take some bum from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Who is he your QB1? Probably not. Aaron Rodgers, is he on his way? What's going on with the Steelers
I
quarterback
would love to
position?
know. I would love to know. I think that in terms of Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you guys, Fletch, you know how much I don't have any time for Aaron Rodgers at all. You know, least favorite person. That's not true, but like one of them, one of my least favorite players. I think the level of arrogance that someone is going to take and put across, in that you have been offered a contract that so many people would cut off their arm for. I mean, not as a quarterback, but would do a lot for to get that contract. And we are how many weeks down the line from that contract being put on the table? How many weeks down the line from the rumours that started way before that? Like, mate, just make a decision. Tell them what you're doing because they need to know. The Steelers need to know at this point whether they're going to come for Kirko Chains or not. Let's be honest. Joking, obviously. But they need to know what's going on. And I just think that for me, Aaron Rodgers needs to retire and should have done last season. Full stop. Put him in a coaching role at, some crappy college team like Ohio State.
Yeah.
Let him go. Let him go and do his nonsense there. Let him go,
Yeah.
let his ego get in the way across there. Not a problem. Maybe don't just like depend fully on him though. And that comes from the Steelers as well. Like they are giving him so much leeway of decision making. I don't think he's worth it. I genuinely don't. And we saw that last season. He is not as young as he once was. He's not as fit and agile as he once was. He's, I'm not denying the fact that Aaron Rodgers at one point was a very talented quarterback. Nobody can deny that. However, that was one time in one game. I'm joking. No, but realistically, it's not where he's at
Yeah.
right now. The Steelers need to. up their game if they want any chance. And I know Steelers fans who are very upset about this. But what can you do?
But now now they've got rid of. Hang on, let me just get this tab back up. Now they've got rid of George Pickens. I mean, let's have something. Go back here. Obviously, they've got DK Metcalf,
Yep.
Robert Woods, Calvin Austin. They're your top three wide receivers. Pat Fryermuth at tight end, and then what? Roman Wilson. Actually, listen,
Nah.
listen. I will not have a bad word said about Roman Wilson.
Where
Um,
did he go to college, Fletch?
I will not have a bad word said about Roman Wilson.
Where did he go to college,
I will
Fletch?
not have a bad word said about Roman Wilson.
Thought
Thank
so.
you very much. Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren coming out the backfield. But do they need to at least add something in that wide receiver room as well? Because look, I will dispel the myth that is the AFC North now is the toughest division in football. That's a myth at this point. But it's still a tough division to get through. Quarterback being the obvious one. Mason Rudolph right now is your QB1. Will Howard and Thompson behind him. Something else needs to go. Did you need to add something there as well?
Yep. Massively. Massively.
Now, looking at, I want to say with the Dallas Cowboys, as we said, their prior up till today would have been I think would have been wide receiver. They need to thicken out that wide receiver room and get a proper wide receiver too. They've done that. Um, that because that was my going into the last couple few days. That was my number one target. It's been on that thing for a week, and then
Yep.
they go and do that the other day. Um, I still think there are a couple of teams though with I'd say glaring holes. The Jets, I still think need to get a quarterback, even if it's
Yep.
just the insurance claim for the future, because
Agree.
Justin Fields will not be it, will probably not be it next year. Or we're looking at the Chiefs needing O-line help, the Texans need O-line help still.
The Cardinals, I feel like we never talk about the Cardinals on podcasts, like ever. And I don't really talk about them anywhere because I just feel like they're a bit of a non-team for me. Like I
Yeah.
forget that they exist
Well,
90% of the time.
they did just draft Pope Leo.
Well,
Um, if you didn't
I
see the other
mean,
day that the Cardinals drafted Pope Leo,
this is true. Have you let Dave know or?
Dave already knows.
Of
Dave
course
would
he
know
does.
before anyone.
Dave
Um,
knew before that smoke came out.
who do you think? To be fair, I think it was Dave who suggested him.
I agree. Maybe it is Dave. Ooh.
But now we know because we know who Dave is, so
True.
everyone would know. Are there any other team? Well, okay, where would you go with the Cardinals then? Is there any particular position for the Cardinals that you would say that they need?
Honestly, not a clue because I actually genuinely forget that they exist. I just was looking at my draft sheet here and I was like looking at who I'd picked for them and who they took. And I just think like I actually couldn't tell you what teams like there's a couple of teams like that for me. I'll be honest, that I just forget that they exist until, you know, I see it on a screen somewhere, they'll like pop out and I'll be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
cards, they exist. A bit like the Colts. Unless it's about their mascot, I'm not arsed. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. No,
You know.
no one cares about anything other than blue.
Yeah.
Um, to be fair, I'd have looked at the Cardinals and said, I, not even a line. I'd say it sounds like a really weird position to say they've got a hole to fill here, inside linebacker. Um, the
Yeah.
Colts, the Colts are a weird one. I feel like,
Tyler Warren was a great pick for them though.
oh yeah, he was excellent.
Excellent choice. Good moves. We love to see that.
The only thing that shocked me about that pick is that a tight end went off the board before him, and I've covered this on the previous
Yeah.
part. I didn't think Colston Loveland was going before him.
No, I didn't.
Um, but as far as the Colts go, a bit more O-line help, maybe a centre, maybe a linebacker. Maybe there's a couple of places that I think the Colts, because they've got little pockets here and there that need to be filled. Um, but I think the only teams with like glaring holes. Most other teams are depth.
Yeah,
Um, the Bills, I still think they could do with an outside guy on receiver, but I'm pretty sure they brought. Well, obviously they brought in Elijah Moore. Um, Elijah Moore's more your ex, I think, than an outside. Well, he's not an outside
mm.
guy. Um,
I think the Bengals as well. Like we touched on this before, but Bengals on paper have everything it took last season to be really quite a good team. And not saying they weren't, but they definitely didn't meet expectations.
I mean, they got rid of everything. Like they seem to have that thing. We said this multiple times on the pod as well, though. Like what the Bengals did last year was say, "I tell you what, do you know what Joe Burrow can do? Win games without a defense. Go on, go and do it." And he nearly did it on so many occasions of putting up. They were like the reverse Chiefs. The Chiefs could not put up 30 points to save their lives and just kept winning. The Bengals were putting up 30 odd points on a weekly basis and still losing because they
Yep,
didn't have a defense. And the big problem they've got at the moment is if it literally came out today, about an hour before we started recording, Trey Hendrickson has come out and said that the Bengals have just stopped talking to him about contract and they now run the risk of losing the sack leader from last year and one
that's
of the best defensive
crazy.
ends in the league in his
That is
prime.
nuts.
So it's just, I know they went up mostly all in on defense in the draft, but jeez, man.
Yeah. You can't be affording to lose your key players at this point. You're just getting a team gelled together. And we're what, just forgetting that people exist now? Hmm. Interesting.
Um,
Ravens kicker, who's taken over from Justin Tucker? Do we know?
oh, well, are we going in? Are we going into kicker news? Are we going into kickers? Is that
Is that where we've got to, is it?
I'll be honest with you, Meg, right? I like to think that my football knowledge is quite good,
Mm?
but kicker depth on rosters, I don't even know who the Lions backup kicker is.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I don't know who the Falcons
to,
one is, to be
to
fair.
be to be
Young Wei
honest,
Koo is should be on his way out for
let's
me,
see what
but
ESPN have to say. Uh, Tyler Loop.
I actually have heard of Tyler Loop, to be fair. Weirdly, I don't know where or why. It might be in relation to just the fact that I've read loads of news articles about Justin Tucker leaving.
Quite possibly because they drafted him this year in the sixth round. And
That's the one.
to be fair, you might have heard it as well when they were drafted because they drafted a kicker in the sixth round, which normally, look, you're either waiting until the end of the set. Most teams are not
That is
drafting a
it.
kicker at all. So the second he gets drafted, everyone goes, "Oh, Justin Tucker's in trouble." Um,
Yep.
so Tyler Loop is your guy. Um, now fun fact, I now know more about the Ravens kicking room than I do about the technically not true, but kind of true. I know more
I
about the
mean, same.
do you know what? I kind of need to know now. I feel like I know who it is because they were on the roster and then Jake Bates took over, but I can't remember the name. It's not a position you tend to have depth for.
No.
No, there's no one listed on ESPN as in depth. No, because our kicker went to I think our kicker went to the Jags. Anyway, um, anyway, um, we could talk for hours about kickers. That's not fair on everybody, on anybody. I know we can. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to think here again. The Jags. I mean, take your pick still on where they have holes to fill.
I mean, I was going to use a really crude metaphor there, but I realized that we're actually like on YouTube and stuff, and it's not appropriate. But
This is a fucking family friendly podcast. This.
yeah, fucking forgot about that one. Um, but yeah, I mean, well, to put it bluntly, the Jags just need need everything. They really do. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was a Jags fan, which thank God I'm not, I wouldn't even be going to see them in London, living here, like living this close. I would literally, I'd be like, meh, it's all right, I'll pass.
To be fair, this year I'd go just to go watch just to see Travis Hunter. I would.
Well, yeah, there is
Um,
that. There is that.
which, by the way, all right, I want to say something. It's not aimed at you. Don't worry. Um, Travis Hunter, right? On the college football podcast, you can go back to January, you can go back to December. I was singing I was brown nosing Travis Hunter the whole time. I stood on business when Travis Hunter won the Heisman and everyone was kicking off, and it was so easy to say he didn't deserve it. Everyone was going on about how he's too arrogant. It's the whole Colorado thing. No one Now everybody loves him and everyone thinks he's the shit. And do you know what? You're all fucking hypocrite, not you personally. You're all fucking hypocrites. I stood on business with it. I said that that's not the case, and he's a quality young man. Just the story this week about him flying, I think it's United Airlines, and seeing that sitting next to that lady on the plane, and just what a lovely young man he was. That's the Travis Hunter that no one believed existed 3 months ago. Um,
Well, we only knew through Dave, to be fair, so we can't talk.
listen, uh, the, I'm looking at the NFC North here because again, I'm gonna when the schedule when we get onto the schedule bit, I'm gonna dispel the whole AFC North myth. Um, I'm looking at the actual toughest division in football, or one of the top two toughest divisions in football right now, the NFC North. I'm saying I've stood on business this whole time. I've been saying we've still not done it. Edge rusher. If edge rusher was the biggest need before the draft, we didn't draft one. We've not brought one in. It has to still be edge rusher. That's it. Packers, I think, are still in need of one. And then the Bears are in need of linebackers. I think they're in need. I think they could get some help on the D line. The O line seems to be obviously is much, much, much better. Just look at the bet, and I don't think that running back room's strong enough. I
No,
don't rate DeAndre Swift highly, and if as an RB1, I just don't. We had enough of him in Detroit. I don't rate him. And then if I'm going for the Vikings, I'm saying they still need a bit of corner help.
yeah,
And Byron Murphy was in bloody credible last year. Defensive player of the year in my rookie player of the year. Um, but give him some bloody help. And Mackay Blackman and Isaiah Rogers, not enough.
yeah, agreed. Agreed. If I'm looking at
And
the NFC North,
Jeff Okuda, that's where he is
where
at the Vikings.
oh, brilliant. Well, that's obviously, of course he is. Um, yeah, if I'm looking at the NFC North, I think, like you say, it's a tough division. It is a real, you know, strong set of teams you've got there. But I don't think there's any glaring needs anywhere there. I don't think there is as obvious as in some of the other divisions, to be honest. I think,
No,
I'm not saying that they're all of them, top tier teams, but there is some real quality players there in NFC North and that can't be sniffed at. I think in terms of the NFC South, so if we're flipping over to my division,
best to
I'm
worst. Let's go.
I'm pretty no I daren't say this out loud because I know it's just going to jinx us. I'd like some more experience on the quarterback side of things in terms of I am backing my boy Penix. I am backing him.
If only you had an experienced NFL veteran in that QB room that
Imagine.
you weren't desperate to get rid of.
Or who actually could remember how to play in the NFL. That'd be great. Um, No, I think Penix great, but we need to also safeguard our future. And I don't think Penix is going to be a generational talent. I might be completely wrong. You know how much I love what he has to offer and what I think he can do, given the chance, given the season to do it. I think in terms of our rivals, we've already touched on the Saints situation with the quarterback problem. I think the Panthers. I'm wary of the Panthers next season. I'm very wary. I think that Ted McMillan was a great first round pick for them. I think that they made some mad moves to strengthen in both their defense, which was sadly lacking last year. Um, but again, I think Bryce Young over there are doing really, really great things. I think towards the end of the season they showed that little glimpse of potential there that cannot be ignored. I think the Bucks, I mean, you know how much I loved Baker Mayfield last season. I also think
Yeah.
what's he called? Bucky Irvin, another great player. I don't know if they're going to be as strong next season as they were last season. I'm putting out there as my hot take this week. I think that people have got them as a safe bet for winning the South. I wouldn't sniff at the Panthers having a better shot. And I know that
That's a
that's
bold take.
that's big, big for me. Obviously, my Falcons are the favourites for me, only
Of
me.
course.
But if I'm being realistic, I do think Panthers are ones to watch next season.
Yeah.
I don't think the Saints have got enough gas in the tank to get them anywhere far. Um,
No.
it's going to be between, I think. I mean, people predict what Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, Saints again. I don't know if it's going to be that this season. I really don't. I think Panthers are ones to watch, like I said.
The Saints, that's what you're saying, not enough gas in the tank to get them there. I think the Saints at the moment, right, and to an extent, the Panthers are as well. Do you ever watch, what are they called now? It's on, they do them on, the channel Dave,
Yeah,
funnily enough. Um, but they're there, what are they called? Those little soapbox, the soapbox races. Um,
yeah.
and those little competitions, they kind of like put an analogy to it, or going off the gas in the tank. They're kind of like soapbox races more than anything. Push them both downhill, right? The Panthers is a better built one, as it stands. They have so far shown, but they've got better in the quality of build. They look really good. They look a lot better. Now, my question is, have they built? How well are they going to build on what they built to what? How they got down that hill the end of last season? They look like they got control of the little soapbox. It was going downhill pretty fast. Can they, with what they've done this off season and the slight improvements that they've done with Dave Canales going into his second year as head coach, can you do the thing that gets to have just that bit more stability at the start of the run and get them going like they were at the end of the run last year? The
Mm.
Saints are one of them. You just don't know what's going to come out at the moment.
Oh God, no. The Saints
It's
you can never predict.
it's a much cheaper built soapbox. You don't know what parts they've used for the most. They've got tires on, but you're not sure what those tires are made of.
They're all different sizes.
The driver is, no matter what in experience, you've got a guy who's done a couple of the soapboxes. You've got a like, you just don't know. And this could be one of those where we're all expecting it to kind of come off the blocks like it did last year, and then the wheels come almost straight off, right? And then you just kind of sat there in a motionless soapbox thing that's not even pretty design. Watch some of us get shocked as they fly out the gates. Now, like I say, I don't think they'll at least have the control. They're going to hit one of the first hurdle they truly come up against. They're going to smack it, and it's going to go horribly wrong.
Yep.
But I really want to see. For me, when I look at the Panthers, it's not depth. It's not what pieces they need. It's what questions I have over keeping it going.
Yeah,
building off that
momentum.
momentum. Building off that momentum. I do think they need corner help. I stand on there. They still need corner help. Um, Falcons. I mean, where would you say is the Falcons' biggest need at the moment, if any?
Um,
Other than that bit of veteran experience, better veteran experience in your opinion,
yeah,
in the QB room.
I think obviously we shored up our defense big time during the draft. We went full defense as predicted. We got that edge rush. We got two edge rush. We got all the things that I would say we need on the defense, but they are a young defense. And, you know, you've got rid of Grady Jarrett. He's not the cornerstone of our of that defensive side anymore. There's a lot of inexperienced players that need to, just get the experience, and the only way they're going to do that is to get out and play the game.
Yeah.
Um, Again, O lineman, maybe we could tighten. Pretty happy with our wide receivers, let's be honest. Pretty happy with running back situation. Yeah, I'm actually not massive, and again, touch wood on this. I'm not massively concerned in any single area. It's going to be whether the team gels and if they've got the experience that they can. Because bearing in mind, you've got you know, year two QB1. Fair enough, you've got the experience of, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Bijan sat there. You've also got some, and I go on about this, cracking rookies from last season to really start showing off and coming through, hopefully. But yeah, young team, young defense needs a lot of work on it, just experience.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I want to move on slightly. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I was going back through this tab on social media. The schedule gets released this week, which is
Yep.
always a really fun little time in the NFL. It's not proper news time. It's just a bit of fun. It's a light-hearted week where things are happening, but it's light-hearted. It's enjoyable. Um,
Yeah.
the first official game has been announced, which is the opening game of the season. The Super Bowl champions always open the season at home on the first Thursday night football of the season. That is obviously the Philadelphia Eagles. They
Yep.
will face the Dallas Cowboys at home. Now that is a repeat of last year. That's a divisional game. They played twice last year, and
Yep.
both times last year it was an ugly beat down from the Eagles on the Cowboys. Are we expecting at least a more competitive game this time round, even if it's just to start the season, while maybe still getting into
Yeah.
it a little bit?
But I also think that one of the things we spoke a lot about last season was that Thursday night football gradually got worse as the season went on. And we found ourselves sitting up on a Thursday night thinking, really, this is prime time football? So many times. This is not going to be one of those occasions. I think this is going to be a dirty slog of a game. And I'm here for it. I am absolutely here for it.
Yeah. I mean, start of the season, I mean, we know why Thursday night football games aren't good. It's the short week, it's all that sort of stuff. But because you get the bye week in between the last preseason game, and they don't really play the preseason game, the only problem is it's while most of those players are still warming up and getting ready and not playing at the full
Yeah.
potential, and they're not at their full potential. They're not at peak physical, um, at their peak physique, which
Yeah.
that was fun to say that. Um, so you kind of have to roll with the punches a little bit there.
Yeah.
Other things being announced this week. Bloody hell, where did it go? Swear down if I've actually closed down the tab with the one bit of information that I really wanted to keep on here. Um, what a dumbass.
Hmm. Other key things being announced this week in relation to schedule
There
release,
we go.
we have got the upcoming and I don't know about you. Well, obviously, I do know about you actually because you've told me this that one of your favorite things about schedule release is
Yes, yes, right.
theme videos.
I found this thing. That I want to end this on a happy note, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So, just a little bit of information. Uh, the NFL games that some of them are leaked prior, so we're still waiting on certain ones maybe popping up. Hopefully during the recording, there has been one bit of news, by the way.
Mhm.
Um, in the since we've been started recording, uh, Cleveland Browns linebacker Jeremiah Owusu Kamara Koromoa has been placed on the reserve slash physically
Ooh.
unable to perform list and will not return for the 2025 season. It continues the problems with his health, and obviously the primary thing is making sure that he is healthy and safe, and just he's not putting his body in any unnecessary harm.
Mm.
So, um, best of luck to him. I hope he gets through the season and does manage to get back on the field again. We'll see. Um, we'll see. But best
Yeah.
of luck to him, and that's just it's sad news. Um, so yeah, so with the NFL schedules, well, hopefully something will get released while we're still recording. If not, keep an eye on Rap Sheet, keep an eye on the Hurdle the Line socials and all that sort of stuff. But um, what we've got coming over the next couple of days. Normally announced on the Tuesday are the opponents for the home designated home teams in London, and in the international games, obviously the three. Let's try that again in English. The three in London, where the Jets, the Browns, and the Jaguars, as always, are designated home teams. The Colts have a designated home game in Germany, at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. The Dolphins in Madrid, the Steelers playing the first ever regular season game in Dublin, and then you've obviously got the Chargers in Sao Paulo, which I do believe has been leaked, as that
Mm.
will be the Chiefs.
I've
Um,
heard this.
it will be the Chiefs. Now,
I've also got a little bit of news that's kind of bubbling about the Berlin game, about the Germany game
care to
with the
share?
Colts. Uh, I've heard that I might be making a trip to Germany. Don't know how true that is. We will obviously find out very shortly.
Was this that Nigerian prince?
How did you know?
Because I've got the same
Uh,
offer.
no, it was Dave. Dave let me know.
I'll have a word with him. Didn't offer it me. There's a Nigerian prince.
No, I've heard that the Falcons may be the Week 10 game in Germany against the Colts.
Interesting. Very interesting. Those will be announced over next few days.
Yep.
With the main schedule being released at almost yeah, it's 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, so that's 1 in the morning. Now we'll stay up at 1 in the morning to watch the Giants play the Dolphins on a Thursday night football game. We'll do that. And we're
Yeah.
quite sad for it, but we'll do it. Hell, do you know what, Meg? You've known this. I'll stay up to watch Kent State versus Appalachian State.
I
I'll
I
stay up
do.
till 3 and 4 in the morning watching that.
Yep.
That's how much I love this game.
Yep.
We'll stay up till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning watching the draft.
Yep.
And most people will think that's sad. Now, how sad do you think it is to stay up till 1 in the morning to watch schedule releases?
I mean, I'm going to be doing it. So,
Why would you stay up till 1 in the morning to watch schedule releases there, Meg?
so full disclosure here. Until last season, I did not know about these fun little videos that teams release. I had no idea. And even then, until this season, I didn't know the extent to which teams went to. Last season, I watched the Falcons one by chance because I was on the Falcons website and I saw it and I thought, oh, that's really cool. And I sent it to my mates and I was like, oh my God, look at what how cool are the Falcons doing this little video to announce who they're playing? To which I got the response of, Meg, every team does this to a different extent, and you really need to check out certain teams and what they do.
Some teams
So
do have
this year,
better than others
well,
historically.
this year, I am on it. I'm going to rate them
You
and
rate them.
everything. I'm going to rate them on my TikTok.
Are we gonna have a power ranking?
Yeah,
Power
I'd say
ranking.
so.
Well, I would say we either need to do a power ranking or a tier list. We need the whole
I think a
the
tier
god
list,
tier.
and I think we should duet that.
I'm sure that could even be a pod episode as well, more a bit more in
Yeah,
depth, going to a
yeah.
pod episode. But it's really good. Now, how have you gone into any more detail on any of these other ones that have been done in the past? Because I'm so excited to talk about two or three of my favorites.
So obviously, I watched the Falcons one. Uh, I'll be honest, I wasn't a massive fan of the Falcons one last year. I thought, yeah, it's cool, but once I realised that everyone else was doing the same, was doing videos as well, was less cool. Um, I hear on good authority that the Chargers have a really decent one every year.
Yeah, the Chargers are excellent.
Um, so yeah, I'm just excited to be. I feel like, and you know this, the journey that I've been on with NFL, where like it's only been 2 years, it's really only been like two full seasons and a half where I've been into the game. And so I feel like all these things that come around, the draft was more exciting this year because I'm fully immersed in it. This is more exciting this year because I'm fully immersed in it.
Yeah.
I want to see them all. And obviously, I'll be watching my Falcons one first. However, after that, I'm just going to be like mind blown. I need to see them all immediately,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. The Chargers are excellent. They did, I think, the last few years they've done like an anime. I think it's like it's well, it's minutes long. It's really funny, and in all, it takes slight swipes at teams. So, like a couple of years ago when it all happened over the Lions and Jameson Williams got the suspension for the gambling thing, and they found out a few other players had done it within the Lions. They'd when they announced that they were playing the Lions in the video, it included like the 1-800 like number where you could get help for betting addiction and gambling addiction. Um,
Brilliant.
just the swipes that they will take at teams are excellent. Always a good one to watch. One of my favorites of all time. Now, if you know me, you know how much I love the US Office. It is one of my favorite shows of all time. And to the Americans listening to this is one of the few things you've actually done better than the Brits. Congratulations, bravo. Um, the US Office is incredible. It's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Come watch it on repeat over and over again. Still find it funny. And the Denver Broncos a couple of years ago, Peyton Manning and Angela Kinsey, who was in the office, also played, funnily enough, Angela in the office, did a party planning committee style video to announce the schedule, um,
Brilliant.
which was excellent. The Lions last year, they did a comedy video with Tim Robinson and Sam Richardson. If you don't know who they are, Tim Robinson is a they're both Detroit-based comedians. You will probably more know Sam Richardson. If you watch Ted Lasso, you'll know who Richardson is. He played Edwin Akufo, the Nigerian billionaire who wanted to buy Sam Obasanya. Um, that was funny. Not the best one. The best one though. So far over the last couple of years, recency bias thrown in, was the Tennessee Titans a couple of years ago, who hit Broadway in Tennessee and got asked random people, to name the team via the logo.
Okay.
And some of the responses they got were excellent. So the Detroit Lions were uh, that team I always run with on that team that always run it on fourth down like it's Madden. Um, the Chargers were Lightning McQueen. Um, I can't remember what the Falcons were in it. I can't remember what they were called. They were called. I can't. There was. Hang on.
Oh, he's on a mission. He's got to find it.
2023 schedule release. Literally, it's the one thing that people actually watch. It's the most searched thing clearly on Google for the
Brilliant.
Titans. When you put in Titans 2023. Um, so yeah, ask people to help with the bro. Do you know what? I'm gonna see if you can come up with something. Um, the New Orleans Saints. Can you guess what someone called them?
Um, I don't know. You put me on the spot with that one. Uh, the Royal Pitchforks.
St. Louis Rams,
Okay.
which was
Yeah, that's going back.
yeah, the Chargers were Lightning McQueen. Um, be nice if my video player wanted to actually work on this video. Uh, the Cleveland Browns were just the football logo.
Brilliant.
Um, the Bengals were the Boston Bobcats.
Okay, I'm here for it.
The Colts were the Cowboys.
The Colts were the Cowboys.
The Ravens were the Baltimore Orioles, which is at least somewhat close because that's the baseball team.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
That was it. The Falcons were the Red Stallions,
The red,
based on the logo of the Falcon, the Red Stallions.
the logo that is clearly, I'm looking at it now, it's right in front of me, like literally on my wall. That's clearly a bird.
Right. What I'm going to do is, rather than give anything away, you have to go watch the rest because
Okay,
the rest
I
of them are
promise.
also absolutely fantastic because
I
they get
will.
better. Um, they ran it back last year and it just wasn't as good. Um, and what was the other one? I was thinking there was one more that I was thinking of. The Rams took a shot at the Lions last year.
Okay,
Um, and called Ford Field Stafford Field.
brilliant.
That's after they got beat in the wild card round of the playoffs and then proceeded to get beat anyway in game one of the season. But it's a real chance for the social media teams to become the real winners of the NFL for a week.
I
Um,
mean, I'm here for it. I started a new job today and I went to meet their social media team and it just is the place to be. It
yeah,
really is.
absolutely agree. And do you know what? Anyone wants to come be part of our place to be, feel free to join the network and help us out on that one. That'd be greatly appreciated. Now, I did have a question lined up, but actually, I'd rather have it when there's a few more of us ready to go, just because I
Okay.
think the answers would be a bit more varied and wider. So, I'm going to kind of
I'm just
leave.
gonna say, because I kind of know what the question is. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? It would only take one of my options
Right,
to
go on
win.
then. If we can get this, we'll get this out real quick. We're behind because I wanted to pose this question a week ago, and we're behind on it, and the trend's pretty much gone. 100 men versus a gorilla. I want you to recommend some NFL players who you would put in this fight. Who are you choosing?
Right. First of all, there is only one man that I have in my mind that I
Yes.
confidently would stand alongside or behind.
I can guess who it is. I guarantee. I almost guarantee it. Right. I have one question. Just one
Okay,
question. Are they a current or former NFL player?
former.
Jason Kelsey.
Yes, it is. However, and again, I'm not saying that this is an Aaron Rodgers hate show. However, I would throw him in as fodder and distraction first. Not that Jason would need it, because my guy's got that covered. He can take that gorilla. Like, no doubt in my mind. But just to watch Aaron Rodgers suffer, I'm here for it.
Couple of names I just want to throw in there real quick. I know his former, but Aaron Donald. Fuck that gorilla. Aaron Donald. I'm throwing a few of those mean, grizzly, horrible old linemen. I'm throwing in your Penny Souls. I'm going to throw in a Tristan Wirfs. A couple of these mean, horrible, disgusting, nasty D tackles. There's that kid out of Florida who's just gone in the draft who's like 460 odd pounds. Throw him out there. Good luck, gorilla, trying to move that guy.
Because he can
Um,
run as well, by
he
the
can,
way.
big man can run.
Big man
Um,
can run.
I mostly would be a team of linemen either side of the line, but you're talking big, heavy hitters. There you
Yeah,
guys. So Jason Kelsey would fit right in on that O lineman. Um, I think that's got to be a shout. That's the position.
yeah,
I
million%.
There may be a couple like maybe a DK Metcalf because he's just stacked. Um, there are a couple of those. There's a couple of wide receivers out there who are stacked or
Yeah,
stocky. Some of the half, like some of the guys who are more fullback, couple of maybe some of the bigger tight ends, you more blocking tight ends. I wouldn't throw Travis Kelsey in there. Um, I
no,
can't. With all due respect, he's got good hands, but still, as we all say, can't block for shit. So I ain't fancying him in that.
no.
That's about it, really. That's where I go with it. So, without further ado, that is the end of the episode. Thank you so much, Meg, for joining us. We'll be
Thanks for having
back.
me.
Me, we'll be back next week, hopefully with a couple extra people, and we'll have the NFL schedule to talk about, the Christmas games, the Thanksgiving Day games, the actual schedule release, and all that sort of stuff, and our favorite videos from Wednesday night's announcements. We will see you then. Check out College Football UK on Wednesday. I will not be part of this one, so you might actually want to watch this one, where they'll be breaking down Appalachian State. That's the one. I'll be talking about Appalachian State and some of the best freshmen entering the college football season after we spoke about the best guys to look out for the draft next year. Check that out, and we'll see you back here next week. See you later.
Bye.